doctors asked Brett and I how much focus should be on the hips and how much on the hands. And I've got an athlete here, Bob, 62, from the Villages, and he focused a lot on his hands, and he's trying to match up his swing path with the path of the pitch coming down. Ends up rolling over the top, hitting a lot of ground balls, doesn't get near the power he has. And really, as an athlete, you should focus 90% of what you have on getting the hips to pop open, torque open against one another. And as Scott Kirby says, if your hips pop good, they'll snap the wrist for you. Look at his back foot. It just kind of spins up and squishes a bug. There's no weight transfer. Watch the hips of Robert Blackburn. When he lands, the front leg lands bent, and it drives backwards, drives the front hip backwards, the rear hip drives forward. It's a torque. And now because he's not thinking about the torque and he's thinking about where his hands go, it allows him to make too many adjustments and to swing up on that path of the pitch. So we wanted to really simplify. You see Frank Henry here. Again, a great set of hips on Frank Henry. Lower, reach ahead, rotate, and torque. Each hip driving against one another to get a tight spin. That's what brings it around for Blackburn. And then you look at his swing. We want to have a level swing. We want to swing more level than the path of the pitch coming down. So upper body's got a torque too. You see on the swing simulator here, I'm driving his shoulder back to try to get him to torque, like you see Frank Henry there too. The shoulders and hips have to torque open together, and you can do that also with a rotational trainer. But the focus on the hips really gives you a good, solid base of tight torque. You're going to maximize your power. And then if you just look at the bottom of the ball with your eyes, your hands are going to come last, and you'll naturally take your hands like Blackburn does here to the bottom of the ball. It's not a slow process of turning and guiding your hands up. No, let the ball drop in that zone between your waist and your chest. Have a 90% hip torque. Watch Brett on the rope here. You can use the guide rope to really train yourself to get on this plane. You want your swing plane to be more level than the path of the pitch coming down. There's rotation, there's extension and snap, but all driven off of Brett's great hip torque. Hip torque, shoulder torque, and the hands come last, and they just are thrown off. Like water on a spinning wheel. It's thrown off towards the ball. If you look here, Brett cuts the ball very well here on a higher pitch. And all that is here's the path of the pitch coming down, but his rotation drives that swing plane in the hands, and he throws the bat head through the ball to a flatter plane than the pitch coming down. The green arrow signifies the swing plane. And so you have a radically dissecting angle. You look at the bottom of the ball, you're going to cut through the bottom of the ball, get underspin, and get a lot of carry. So we really worked on this hip torque, and you can see when you have good hip torque, watch the front leg. It'll land a little bent, and then it'll straighten out. That means it's driving the hip back. And you get a one-arm finisher, which is great. And now watch on the rear foot. It actually drags a little bit because you're getting a good hip torque. You're really torquing. Now when we do the perfect snap, we signify having an axe snap because we don't want to roll over. We want to actually have the hips throw our hands. So he's popping the hips and throwing the hands. Then we get off the tee. We're actually work on swinging down a little bit because Bob had that tendency to swing up. I said, that's so ingrained, you're going to have to think about swinging down, and we'll level off from there. There's just a beautiful cut swing. And if you watch his hips, 90% of his focus is on his hips. And as Bob went through here, he said, I didn't even think about my hands. I just watched where I wanted to throw the hands and the bat head, the bottom half of the ball, and it followed that way. So there, 95% of the focus is on the hips. And torquing them, twisting them at the end so that they really bring that hand, that shoulder around, bring the hands around, and you really get an explosive lag to snap on it. So here's the live swings on the end of day two. He's up in the air there, see? That's such an ingrained thing to come back. So I said, take your practice swings at a down angle. And he's trying to swing down maybe at a 45 degree angle, and he's getting a great hip torque, but he's still just level. You can see that. There's the hip torquing great. There's the hands coming last. That's a bomb to right field, right center field. Hit 2 or 3 balls about 340, just phenomenal. That's just a great looking swing there. And again, here, there's no focus on the hands. The hands are coming late. Scott Kirby always says that, and Scott Kirby's only about 6'1", 220, has hit the most home runs ever at the Disney complex for the USSSA World Series. He says the hips snap the wrists. And by that he means that if you really get a good tight torque of the hips and you're watching where the ball is going to end up, the point of contact, you're going to go ahead and get a really great snap. Now, after a while, Bob got swinging back up again. So we said go back to that practice swing. Force yourself to swing down, and when you turn around, you'll get a much more level swing and more of the focus on the hips. And this is just a great swing here. 340 foot line drive. Watch this hip shoe. Watch that front leg drive back. Look how tight that torque is. Good launch angle back. And again, watch the rotation. The hands come at the very last. You don't even have much time to think about it. The hands just are thrown towards the bottom half of the ball where you're looking, and you get a lag and a snap, and the rotation pulls the lead arm around. It's awesome. Let's take a look at this live. Good shot. All the way. Good ball. Nice. Beautiful. Good ball. Look at that. You know, we saw that you're swinging way up before, kind of golfing the ball, trying to adjust your swing angle up at the same path as the pitch coming down. What were the 1 or 2 changes you made today that allowed you to hit 2 home runs and get up to 87 miles an hour?
The biggest change was the standing up hip drill, where I was looking in the mirror and simulating a swing and opening up the hips and having the hips really torque open, and then the hands follow, and also correcting my swing almost to a downward swing.
Had you ever swung the DeMarini Senior Best before?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I really like both of them. I actually hit better with the mid-load, and I normally hit a 27-ounce, half-ounce in-load.
What kind of a feel does that bat have? Hard, soft?
It's actually a real smooth. It's a easy feel, especially with my corrected swing.
And the sweet spot on it's huge.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I mean, I can hit from the handle all the way to the tip.